Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Journey Success Stories podcast. I'm Jennifer Sheffel, your host, and I'm super excited to be here with Kim Dubé. She is the founder and CEO of Reflex Recruiting. Welcome, Kim.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course. So, Kim and I, for a little tidbit for our audience, we go back for a bit. What has it been? 15 years? 20 years?
Something close to that, like 10 or 15, long time.
Yes,
Long,
yes. So
long time.
you guys are going to be very blessed today in having Kim tell about her story, how she got to business ownership, and what got her here. But of course, thank you to all of you who are joining today. Make sure that you like and subscribe because we want you to get additional notifications whenever we have episodes like this that drop so that you can come back, watch it time and time again. Because I know Kim, she's going to have great tidbits for each and every one of you, especially as you're recruiting. And it is a crazy market right now, so you're going to want to come back. So, Kim, thank you. Welcome to the show. Please share with us a little bit about you, how you got to where you are today, and about Reflex Recruiting.
Sure. Well, I mean, I could talk all day, right? I'm in recruiting. That's what we do. But in a nutshell, I fell into recruiting completely on accident after college. I didn't even know at that time nobody studied HR or recruiting. So it was something I absolutely just accidentally fell into. And I started my recruiting career as a recruiting coordinator. So I started scheduling interviews and travel for candidates that were coming in from out of town for a large financial institution here in town. And sort of grew from there and made some moves really early on in my career, very intentional moves to get different skill sets. Like I wanted to manage a P&L, I wanted to manage branding strategy. So I kind of grew my career in-house. And I very early on set a goal for myself to be a recruiting VP by 40. I don't know why I decided that this was the end game and this was what was going to happen, but that's what I decided. So everything I did along the way really fed into that end goal. Um, I achieved that goal and hated every minute of it, every second. And
Crazy
ended up
how that happens.
my God,
Like we set these grandiose goals sometimes and then we achieve it because we've manifested it. And then all of a sudden it's like, why? Why did I ever think I wanted this?
yeah, yeah, and that's exactly what happened to me. It was crazy. And so I found myself with an organization. It was not a really great cultural fit. And so 3 weeks after my 40th birthday, I found myself unemployed for the first time in my career. So I started getting job offers and wasn't really excited and was talking to my husband about them. And I'm like, none of these really jazz me up. And he's like, you know, that business you always talk about every time you've had a few glasses of wine? I'm like, yeah, that one that I've been talking to you about since Jen, you and I worked together. So, 8 or 9 years. He's like, today, start it. You already have people calling you for help with recruiting. So you already have clients. I'm like, I do? He's like, yeah, that's the number one thing people need. My husband's an entrepreneur, by the way. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And so I Googled a website and filed some paperwork and started my business. But that business had been noodling right in the back of my mind for about 8 or 9 years, but I never really saw it as a viable thing that I could ever do. And so had it not really been for his encouragement and his like, hey, you have clients. Did you think about that? And I don't know that I would have ever actually pulled the trigger.
Yeah, the really cool thing that I absolutely love about when you pulled the trigger finally was I had launched my business, what, 6 months before that? So the two of us have been like sharing things like as we've kind of been growing and, thriving and really doing some cool things. So, as far as Reflex Recruiting, how did you come up with the name Reflex Recruiting? Because I think this is really cool.
So it's, you know, short for reflex, so recruiting flexibility, which I think really demonstrates the future of recruiting, that flexible approach, which is what started the idea for the business. There are very limited options, believe it or not, for companies that need recruiting help, and none of them are really effective, efficient, but also cost effective and efficient. And so there was really nowhere for me to go when I was in corporate and needed that experienced lever, that really fast lever that I could turn on and off as our hiring demands fluctuated. So that's kind of where the name came from and how the company really started.
Yeah. So the cool thing is, as you've also grown as a business and a business owner, you've been able to leverage some really amazing people on your team because these beautiful people may have also been with us back in the day too. But when we talk about relationships and relationship building and how important that is, can you kind of lean into that a little bit for the business owners and those that are like tuning in?
I think it's critical. It's critical, right? And I think I had to retrain myself on the meaning of the word networking. And what I sort of realized is a lot of people have this concept all backwards, right? Or it's your network, right? You're working. And in reality, what I found is that the most effective parts of networking for me have been just natural, authentic relationships that I have built over the course of my career. So every company I've been at, right? So you and I work together. There's been 4 to 5 people that I've kept in touch with for 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, 5 years that authentically resonated with me. And I think I authentically resonated with them. So we developed these very professional, but also personal friendships. And that's really been the key for me in growing my network, is surrounding myself and being able to support others, right? You and I have referred business back and forth that are authentically friends and people you want to spend time with and people whose advice you want. And um they challenge you to think about things differently and be better. And so for me, it's been instrumental. My entire business has been built around relationships and
Yeah.
my network. I'm going to use that term loosely, but around people that have supported me and that I've also supported.
Yeah. So, something that you're kind of starting to lean into, and I want to highlight for people because I didn't realize this in corporate, but it is so true when you're on this side as an entrepreneur and a business owner, is when you're referring business or referring others, part of your reputation goes with that. And so, it is very instrumental because when I was in corporate, I'm like, oh, hey, I know somebody. And I would just throw it out there to try and just help them out, which is good, but there are times when people may pump the brakes a little bit and kind of be a little hesitant to do that referral. So, how has that been for you, Kim? Because I know that's been an adjustment for me.
Same. But also at the same time, when you have entrepreneurs, right, and small business owners, we're all trying to figure this all out, right? And it's a big pie out there. Like, I'll just give you a prime example. I just met with a potential client last week last week. And they shared the name of a recruiting firm they're already working with. And I'm like, you're in really good hands for those roles with that firm. Like, that is where they shine. There is absolutely nothing I'm going to bring to the table that they cannot. Like, that is who you should be working with for those roles. Because I thoroughly believe that that's not my lane and that is their lane. And the pie is big enough for all of us. But also, when you help people discover tools, or people have helped me discover tools or technology, like, we all grow as a small business community. And so you help make other people stronger and they make you stronger. So it is tough. You have to really trust who you're referring. And I also learned kind of the hard way. I don't know about you, but when people refer people to me, like those are the first calls I'm answering, emails I'm returning. Like when a small business owner is thinking about something, you have to be the one to jump while it's fresh and top of mind for them. You can't wait too long because they're already moved on to something else at that point.
Right. Yeah, we're constantly moving and the grit that this requires. So that's something that I was going to actually lean in on a little bit because you had mentioned we're all still trying to figure it out. How long have you had the business now?
3 years.
Right, right. It ebbs and flows. So, what I would love is for you to kind of talk about the still trying to figure it out because no day is ever the same. And we're constantly like moving, jiving, kind of lean into that a little bit.
It's tough. It is tough out there. Like, and that's where I was thinking about this the other day, a mutual connection you and I had. And I think a lot of people think entrepreneurship is very sexy right now, right? Like you control your income, and with social media and podcasts, and no offense, but with social media and
None taken.
podcasts and stuff, and you probably see this way more than I do as a business coach, but it's like, it's tough. It is tough to really believe in yourself, believe in your
Oh,
team once you get to the point where you're hiring, shifting gears, ebb and flow. And so with social media, it's easy for someone to look very successful, but for that not to translate to monetary income. And, we see it all the time. I was just seeing a TikTok the other day. My daughter showed me about some influencer that used to make like $300,000 a month and is now like broke because it's tough, right? And just because something works today doesn't mean it's going to work in 6 months. And so, how do you pivot and
yeah,
reinvent yourself and have the grit to be able to be like, I'm going to do this, even though it's not what I thought my business was going to be? You still have to adapt and do it.
yeah,
And so it's that combination of grit, and grace, and, it's tough. It's
it
tough
is.
to harder.
Yeah, no, not one bit. And it's one of those things, though, too. So, yes, you're absolutely correct. As a business coach, I see it all the time. It's also why we test and measure everything because a marketing campaign or something that works this month may not work at all next month. There's these algorithms and everything that I had no clue about when I was in corporate. And being on this side, you're constantly learning. If you stop learning, you're going to be done.
Mhm.
And I'm not talking like months, like it can happen quickly before you even have a chance to like sneeze.
Mhm.
So, having that business coach there and having that sounding board and somebody to hold you accountable, it's very important. But being a business owner, what has it really allowed you to do that really surprised you that you never thought was a blessing that you would get by being a business owner?
I think the biggest blessing and what it's given me, and the way that I built the business has allowed me to give my employees, is the ability. I had a post about this, to be an and instead of an or. So I think,
Yes.
what I mean by that is, and I'm going to use parenting because it's my number one example, but we can also talk about being a child, right, of a certain age, and like having aging parents. This has allowed me to contribute income to my family and be a present parent, instead of I'm either really good at my job or I'm being a good parent. It's given me the ability to be an and. I can be a good parent and still work and be, a contributing member of society and of my family. And that's been the biggest blessing, is being able to be an and. I can still work and be present for aging parents. I can still work and have time to take care of my mental health on my terms and my schedule. And so moving from that or mentality. I think sometimes we fall into to that
Mhm.
and mentality, and being able to build my company in a way that allows me to do that for my team um, has been a huge blessing. I mean, one of my employees said to me last week, she was like, I wouldn't be able to work if it wasn't for you
Mhm.
and
That's
this company,
amazing.
you know, and I thought that was just really, she's got 6 kids. And she's a rock star. But we've enabled her to be an aunt. And so to that I think has been a huge blessing. And I didn't really realize how limiting traditional corporate schedules can be sometimes.
Yeah, love that. I just had that same conversation with a client because mental health is so important. And I never realized how important until becoming a business owner. I'm sure you've had some of those demons and things that you've had to also deal with. Kind of like elaborate, if you can, a little bit about maybe what are some of the things that you've done to also make sure that the mindset is in a healthy, good spot instead of allowing the little committees telling you otherwise.
I don't know. I don't know that I am in a good spot, Jen.
Stop it.
I
I'm sure you are.
very much have and continue to struggle with, I hate this term, but I can't think of a better one. So if you come up with one, let me know. But that imposter syndrome. I mean,
Yes.
someone met me and they were like, "Oh, you're a CEO, you're a founder." And I'm like, "I am a walking train wreck, barely hanging on, type B, you know, all the time. Completely fly by the seat of my pants in many regards. In other regards, I'm like super type A and I have it really organized. And so it is hard for me sometimes to look at other people and not be like, oh, like, why isn't my business this big? Or why have I not achieved this? Or why did I not think of this cool, fun, sexy way to make this sound? Why didn't I think of that? Like, I really do struggle with that. And when I have those moments, I just try to lean into my strengths, which is that I'm a doer, I'm an operator, I GSD, I get stuff done. And so in those moments where I'm struggling with like, why didn't I think of this pretty fun way to package this bar of poop and make it look like a bar of gold? Like, why didn't I think of that? I just am like, okay, make 2 or 3 more sales calls, or do this, or record this TikTok, or think of this text. Like, I try to lean into like what I can do to try to keep the business moving forward instead of getting super caught up in like what other people are doing. But I do struggle with that still all the time.
So, what's really cool, and I don't even know if you realize it, you actually leverage it and turn it into momentum. It's your motivation. Like, I got to do this many more sales calls. I'm going to go do some door knocking. Because that's the kind of person you are. I'm not going to let this spiral me down, lay in bed by making blame excuses and denying anything. I'm going to take the bull by the horns and I am just going to run.
Mhm.
So that's your superpower.
Yeah.
Well
Or tiptoe, you know.
done.
But it's taken me a while to get there.
Oh, it's not easy. And it was, I would say, so the first 6 months, it's still the honeymoon phase. And it's
Yes.
like, oh, this is great. You mean I can go to the grocery store in the middle of the day? Shut up. That's so cool. And then the honeymoon phase starts to, and it's like, oh, no, this is a real business. I have payroll I got to make. I have things that I got to do. I have third parties that are also helping me, whether it's for the financials and some of the other things. That's right. Yes, I
Mhm.
am a trained accountant, but I have my own accountant. But there's all sorts of things. And then it's the balls and balancing it all. It's not an easy thing. So when you think about the business, where do you see yourself in the business 5 years from now? So imagine you've arrived 5 years. What does life look like besides Charlotte being a little teenager, young adult?
I know. Um, I don't know. And I think for the first time in my life, I'm super comfortable with that answer. I don't know that in 98, I could have predicted where I was in 5 years, or in 2019 that I would have predicted COVID, right? That would have, and so I think I've just seen. So I don't know that a year and a half ago I would have told you that um AI is going to completely sort of revamp the way recruiters do their work. And that I was going to spend 3 months over the summer absolutely in my mind wondering if I'm going to have a job in 10 years, right? Like and so I share all that to say, like, I don't know, right? I just keep thinking about what does the future hold. I know that there are goals that I have. I want to be
Yeah.
present to support my daughter through her phase of life that she's in right now. I know that I want to have the mental capacity to help her plan her next phase of life, right? And that's about as far as I've gotten. And that's cool. And I am not that girl. I think
No,
at
you're not.
22, I was like, I'm going to be a VP by 40 and I need to have this experience and this experience and this experience. I'm going to get this MBA and and it was always very, and now I'm like, I'm not 100% sure. I have feelings and thoughts and ideas. Um, I know that I've amassed a wealth of knowledge on how to get a job and how to help companies find top talent. I want to keep sharing that with people,
Yeah.
and keep learning from that knowledge and keep growing that knowledge. And that's about as far as I've gotten, Jen. So I'm sure the business coach in you is like, oh my gosh, cut the podcast, get her off here. But
Stop it.
um,
No, that's a very authentic, real answer. And so I can also say, you're not the first one that has said that.
really, okay.
No, you're not. So I just finished a book. It's amazing, by the way. And it's called Be Your Future Self Now. And it talks about how we think so small. We need to be thinking and growing and developing bigger, bigger than what we could eat. So, of course, yes, there's a book called Think Big, but it's all about if we were to even blast back 10 years ago, there is no way I could have predicted or thought that I would be standing here today doing what I'm doing. That being said, I'm very proud of myself because this was not the goal. But to your great point, by continuing to push and evolve and learn, it will push us in ways sometimes we never even dreamt was possible.
Hmm.
So, and to your other point, technology, AI has to have a human in the loop. So, is everything going to just be taken over? Not tomorrow, but 10, 15 years, probably not because we'll probably shut her down. But on the other hand, 50 years from now, I don't know. But
Yeah.
I'm also not planning to be here in 50 years. If I am, I don't know. I just hope I'm like Barbara Bush with my pearls and my
Yeah.
glass of bourbon sitting on the patio giving you toast. Like that's
Thanks.
that's my goal in 50 years. All right. So, what other things can you tell me about your amazing beautiful business because you kind of mentioned it, the way you guys charge and the way you guys have things structured is so important. So I don't want to dismiss this. So can you tell the audience a little bit about Reflex and how you guys do this?
Yeah. So the thing that always resonated with me when I was in corporate, I think I told you this, is um there were some really outdated recruiting solutions, right? When you were a business, whether you have an in-house recruiter or not, you had traditional headhunters that are going to charge 20 to 30% of a candidate's base salary, which is not super affordable for business. Like, I think there is a place for it, right? Executive hiring, board hiring, like those are the types of roles that's not really the time save money, right? You've got to nail those hires or they can cost you a lot of money. So that's appropriate. But to hire any other level of position, it was an outrageous fee. Temp services wanted me to go temp to hire, paying an outrageous fee. And then contract recruiters, and there are good ones out there. Let me preface what I'm about to say with that. But they weren't really super reliable because 9 times out of 10, they wanted full time roles. And so as I'm kind of watching this, I'm like, we have such fluctuations in hiring, and small and medium-sized companies either don't have a recruiter, they have one HR person, or they have no in-house support, or they have one recruiter that's really good at this one type of recruiting, but when they have to pepper in another type of recruiting, they don't have that strategic mindset to do it. So at the same time, I was sick of losing folks to retirement because I couldn't get my employers to let them semi-retire, or I was losing them because they were having families and I couldn't get employers to get them to go part-time to work around their family schedule. So when we talk about recruiting flexibility, it's on our employees too, to be flexible with where they are in their life. And so we charge hourly. There is no retainers, there's no monthly spend. Like, we charge an hourly rate. And I can, I do work with my clients who maybe don't have that kind of variable tolerance in their budget to kind of figure out some creative solutions. But with that hourly rate and using kind of a flexible workforce on the back end that are all people I've worked with in the past,
Mhm.
we have some really experienced tenured recruiters that in a very affordable way can partner with business owners to really guide them through the recruiting process, to take a perspective on things. And it allows for that ultimate flexibility, right? We want to be an extension of their team. So, we had one client presented two really good candidates. They couldn't decide. They couldn't decide. They couldn't decide. I'm like, just hire them both. Like, if
We recommend hire two at a time. You
right,
train them both at the same time, and if one of them doesn't make it,
right.
the cost of turnover.
Right. And it was a
No.
director level role, and both of them were managers. So I'm like, bring them both in and see who sort of becomes your de facto leader, your de facto,
Yeah.
if we were a traditional agency, that would have been extremely messy from a cost standpoint. But because we bill that hourly rate, it's like, who cares? When you win, I win. So, am I going to get rich quick doing this? No. Is that the intention? No. I want to empower small to medium sized companies that are becoming the economic engine of our region to have access to that top talent.
I love it. I love it. And that's how our region will thrive and go to a whole nother level, is giving to that community, being that business partner. And honestly, that's what small to medium sized businesses are all about. It is so empowering and it's very, very cool that that is your platform. So I'm going to give you a little plug because I love your creativity, because Kim is not your typical person. She will actually go, and she has some really creative ways of also finding people. And so, and I'm not going to like give the secret sauce because that's not fair, but she truly is there for you. And so I think there's a lot of humility that you're leading with in this instead of tooting your own horn as you should. Promote, 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 my dear.
And worst recruiter ever, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Stop. No.
I will do my clients' horns from here. I think it's crazy to think that it'll be 3 years and that
Yeah.
this little engine is still moving. So, um, but we've got some big things on the docket as the workforce changes and as Gen Z, looks for different ways. So we're evolving as a business. There's going to be some other offerings down the road that are going to launch here in the next couple of months that I think are pretty exciting. That'll give our clients even more flexibility in how they sort of structure and go through different expansions and stuff like that. And it's not dissimilar to what you're doing, right? I mean, when you're advising clients, you're helping them through a period of growth or a period of establishment or moving from an LLC to an S corp and all of those changes. For a lot of folks, that's not stuff that we learned in corporate. So,
No. No.
um,
Yeah. It's definitely, well, and the way that we even navigate the waters is different based off the person too. Because some people love to do some things and others hate that. So they're going to go this way. But you know what? No harm, no foul. If you believe in it, you'll succeed. That's the beauty of it.
Mm-hmm.
So as a coach, I don't ever tell you, you have to do this. No, it's what's going to work best for you.
Right.
All right. So this has been super cool. I have some rapid fire questions.
Gosh. Okay.
Are
I'm
you
ready.
ready? You're like, let me take a drink. All
I'm
right.
ready
What is the key to success for you?
to keep swimming because I think treading water and swimming require the same amount of effort. And I think sometimes we get caught up in treading water. You're just keeping your head above water, but it's not moving you in a direction. So I always try to remind, like, am I treading water right now? I feel busy, but am I treading water or am I swimming? Am I getting to somewhere? And that's kept me going through those tough days.
Awesome. So, what is the one piece of advice that you would give to business owners? It might be the same as your key to success, unless you got another one.
Well, that and you know, do do good things. Do good things for other people. I think that some of the biggest supporters of my business have been other women that are direct competitors. Um, just keep putting that positive
Yeah.
vibe out there and it'll come back to you. Be ethical, do what you say you're going to do, right? Do the right thing for people. And it'll come back to you tenfold. Oh, so cheesy, but true.
It's not cheesy at all because there's not enough people, honestly, that do lead with kindness. I was always told, and I do follow this each and every day, and sometimes I'll even ask myself, how am I leading with love?
That's a good one. Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I love it. All right, what is a book or podcast that you're reading or listening to right now?
So the wrong answer.
No, it's going to be good.
I am a reformed people pleaser, and I have read this book 6 or 7 times. It's disgusting. It's all the pages are bent but it's the life-changing magic of not giving a F. Mhm. And I try to read that book once a year to keep myself on track. And the basic premise of it is we only have so many F's to give. And if you
Yes.
waste them all on things that don't really matter, you won't have any left for the things that matter. Kind of like the newest iteration, I think, is that Let Them theory by Mel Robbins, who I love. Mel Robbins, love her
Yes.
podcast. I listen to her
Yes.
podcast every week without fail. Like, bring it on. I listen, listen, listen. So, love me some Mel Robbins. But there's something about that book that just I keep reading it to remind myself.
That is awesome.
That was 2 things. Can I say 2? That was
Well, so you mentioned a book and a podcast. You did an and.
good and.
Yes, my question was or. Shame on me. And thank you for doing an and.
I did and, yeah.
All right. So here's a fun question. If you could take some pixie dust and sprinkle it on a particular part of the business, what would it be?
Sales, bringing in more sales, bringing in more clients, scaling a little bit faster. That's not really where I shine. I'm a terrible salesperson. Any salespeople listening, like they will tell you, I am not. So I think if I could sprinkle fairy dust, it would be to bring in more clients so that I can do what I think I'm good at, which is matching them with talent that's going to propel their business forward. So
So I'm going to disagree that you're not a good salesperson because sales is all about relationship building, of which you are one of the best that I know at doing so.
you're
So,
very sweet. Next time I'm having an imposter moments and call you. Remember those nice things you said, Jed? Can you tell me them again?
anytime you have me as text and all the good things. So, yes, please do, because it's very true. All right. So before we get to the final question of the day, how can people find you, link up with you, and all the great things because they need you? And this is your sales moment.
So reflexrecruiting.com, we launched a new website. So really excited about that. I'm on LinkedIn, Kim Dubé, TikTok, uh, and I've challenged myself to record some TikTok. So we're on TikTok now, Instagram and Facebook, but it's all under Reflex Recruiting.
Awesome. So this beautiful Canadian French Dube, can you please spell Dube for those
Yeah,
of us that
it's
might not be as versed?
E as in door, U, B as in boy, E.
Yes. So, fun fact, I was on a plane to go see my daughter, and Kim was on the plane. It was the most remarkable plane ride, I swear, because it was like we would have to be seated. Oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden we would like run to one another and be like, hey, and then we'd like run back. And you were going to New York to do?
To pick up my wedding dress.
Yes.
Yes. And your daughter was going to like plan the rest of her life, no pressure. But I loved it. She was picking her dance conservatory and had her whole spreadsheet of what she was going to do and where she was going to go. And I thought, my goodness, she is Jen's daughter. And I love that. So we ran into each other at Starbucks. That was,
Yeah, it was. Well, and what brought me to that little fun fact story is because of the family was with you and
mhm.
you were translating certain things and it was just so adorable and I just love that moment that I got to witness.
Same. I mean, I feel invested in your daughter's future. I feel like I was part of it because I was there. I saw the original grid of her, schedule and decisions. So, but it's cool to watch your kids grow up like that.
It is, and it's so cool to watch Shar as well. I mean, it's just so amazing. But I will honestly tell you, I also told her that we weren't going to be taking that trip unless it was planned out. So that was kind of self-inflicted.
Perfect. That
But
worked out well.
she's got me
Good
better.
parenting advice.
And yes, we do that in the business too. So, all right. So as we've come to this final question of the day, what do you find is most inspiring to you?
Watching other people just shine and grow and um whether it's networking and referrals, or watching that new hire we placed at a company kind of help that company grow and help that person grow. I've always been inspired by watching others and learning from others. And so that hasn't changed. I just get to do more of it now. So
Yes, it
cool.
is very cool. Well, awesome. This was a great conversation. Thank you so much for sharing and
Thank
being,
you for having me.
of course, but being your authentic self too. It's so great.
Same.
So thank you. So, I, of course, encourage all of you who are watching. First of all, thank you so much for being here with us and watching the show. But make sure that you like and subscribe because we want you to get more notifications. We have more episodes drop just like this one. And of course, you need to come back and remember how to spell Dubé since Kim took us through that. No, she had some really great tidbits as business ownership. And what is that journey like? Because it's not easy. And so, Kim, I am so forever grateful for you to share that with others because it's gruesome.
It is. It is, but having that network's so important. So thanks for being in mine.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love that you're part of my tribe too, because without you guys, there's no way. So, thank you again to Kim Dubé. She's the CEO and founder of Reflex Recruiting, and we are very blessed to have her and share her story with us today. So thank you, Kim.
And thank you for having me. It's been awesome.
All right, awesome. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.